Welcome back, hacker. Today we're going to do a little bit of a remix. We're going to go over again classes because it's a really important concept to know before we get into more in-depth HTML and CSS. So let's begin. Last time I ended it with a challenge that I have on the screen, and we're going to go over that, and then I'm going to give you a new challenge, and I'm going to introduce a little bit more CSS properties for you to play with so that we're learning and continuing with our fun. But let's just dive into it. So the last challenge is to create an unordered list with 3 items, have one item have a class of highlight, have the background of this list item be yellow, the highlight item, and the font size for all items to be 24 pixels. So let's start off with that. I have a new code pen up here with the answer CSS class. I'm going to first start off by creating my unordered list. So I'm going to type in UL and then LI, and I'm going to say item 1, item 2, item 3, and then I'm going to end it. Okay, so for this, I want to have all the items to be a font size of 23 pixels. So I'm going to say list item, font size 23 pixels. That should change the size there. Yes, it does. Then I want to have one of them have a class of highlight, and I want that to be background of yellow. So I'm going to say class highlight. So here I'm going to do again to select a class, I'm going to do the period. Then I'm going to type in highlight with our mustache brackets, and then I'm going to add some properties. So I'm going to say background colon, which is the equal sign, and then yellow semicolon. There you go. So I have that first section done. Now the next one, create 2 paragraphs with a font size of 10, have a color of white and a background of black. Okay, I can do that. So I'm going to say paragraph. So I'm going to start my paragraph tag, test, end my paragraph. We know how to do this. Less than symbol start paragraph. And then we have Matt Damon coming out and ending the paragraph. And then I'll do another one. So here, to add some CSS for that, since I'm not selecting this particular class, I'm just targeting the paragraph. I'm going to choose whatever's to the right of this less than symbol, which is the P tag right here, this paragraph. So I'm going to say P, mustache brackets. Make sure I end my mustache brackets. Color of white, because that's going to change the color of the font. It's going to make it go away, but if I highlight it, it's still there. Then I'm going to say background black, so it should inverse it now. There we go. Nice, perfect. Now I want that to have a font size of 10. So I'm going to say font size 10 pixels. The next thing is create a third paragraph that has the same properties but have the font size be 16. So I'm going to go here. When we're starting out, type it out. Class equals, and then this is again the hard part. You could name it whatever you want to name it. I'm going to say larger. It's not going to be necessarily the perfect naming, but let's do it anyway. I'm going to end that here. So now it should be the same size, but I have this class of larger or large that I can target. So I'm going to say large 16 pixels. There you go. So that makes it slightly larger. Again, if I wanted to only target classes to be the paragraph, I can add a P in front of this. So an example of this is notice there's no P. So if I come up here and I chain these two together, I'm going to say large. So now this is actually going to make it smaller because 16 is less than 23, right? But you can see that it altered it. It changed the size of this, and if I remove it, it doesn't. Okay, or if I put a P in front of this, that'll make the font size be the same, and then I can do LI large, period large, font size 50, well, it's 40 pixels. So again, now it's because I'm marrying these two properties together. I am first finding the list item with the class. Class is indicated by the period of large. So that's the answer essentially to our last challenge. Now I'm going to go over the next challenge, and I'm going to kind of give you some hints. We're not really adding anything new. Okay, we're not adding anything new at all, but I'm gonna show you some more items when it comes to CSS properties, so that way you can discover these. You might have to discover some of these on your own, but I have them written out. Okay, so here is our new challenge. Actually, this is the old challenge. So where did the new one go? Remix, right here. There we go. Okay, it's a bit longer because, again, I want to make sure that we understand how to use these classes and how we can add them together to change the design of our site. So create 2 paragraphs with a font size of 16 and change the color to be a hex color of your choice and a background color of your choice. So what the heck is a hex color? Great question. So I'm going to go over here. I'm in W3 Schools, and you see HTML colors, and if I keep going down, there's a button that has hex right here. So hex is indicated with 6 different symbols. It can be zeros all the way to 255, and then you have different numbers F and C. And so let me change this around so you can see that as I'm changing these sliders, the color is changing. So a hex code is red, green, and blue values, a hexadecimal value that allows us to change the color. So for example, if I want something completely red, I change this all the way like this, and I'm going to move all of these channels, and I have red. If I want something green, I move the green scale down, or the red scale down, green up, and move it like that. If I want to add green and red together, I can move it like this. Or let's say if I wanted to add red and blue together to make purple, I can go like this. So this is a very unique color, and as you can see, as it's changing, it's creating a new color code. So in development, we use these hex codes to indicate colors that don't have common names. Now there are HTML code names. If you do a quick Google search for it, there's a color chart that you can look at that has all sorts of colors already built into it. For example, light coral is a color. There's color libraries with common names, but I want to start moving away from those and start using these hexadecimals. So what you'll do is you'll actually use this the same way you would for another color. So for example, if we go back to our example, I have this background here. To change it to a hexadecimal, I put this hashtag symbol or pound symbol, and I don't want to have 2 of them, I only want to have 1, and then I have my letters and numbers there, and now you can see I have that purple. If I wanted to change it here, I can move it down, and I can change this, and now I have a very, I'm going to format my code again, a very particular hex color. So what you're going to do is you are going to use a hex color of your choice and a background of your choice. So you're going to create 2 paragraphs, font size 16, change the color to the color of your choice. Then I also want you to change the fonts of the paragraph to Arial. So how you're going to do that is you're going to do a little research. I want you to look up I'll give you a hint. Look up font families. This is font families in CSS. And this is a challenge for you, is to change the paragraphs to have a font type of Arial. It's going to make the way that the font looks different. Okay, so then that's going to be for all paragraphs. I want you to create a 3rd paragraph that has all the same properties, so all the same colors, background colors, font size, but I want the font size to be 20 pixels. So I want it to be slightly larger. Then I want you to create a class called Underline and have that class underline the text using a property called text decoration. So you're going to have to look this one up. And I want you to underline one of the paragraphs using this underline class. Then I want you to create a class called highlight. Have the highlight class change one of the background colors to a new hexadecimal color. That's our challenge. I know it's a lot, but I know you can do this because development, as you know, it's not that hard. You got this. Keep moving forward, and I will see you in the next lecture.